What's going on YouTube? This is Country Coder. I'm welcome you back to the channel. If this is your first time here on welcome to the channel, I hope that you'll enjoy the content I have for you. Well, in today's video, I'm actually up here at Magilla, Arkansas, on my way to meet Bolt Bucket, who is over here from Australia. But I wanted to stop here because, as y'all well know, in several of my videos on when I was in Guam, I did some World War II stuff. And I just happened to be looking for hotels along my path, and I actually saw some World War II history here in Arkansas that I had no idea about. So most people will talk about the bombing on Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941, but this is one topic that a lot of people, in the United States don't really want to talk about, but it's one of those that it's actually our history. And if we don't talk about our history or keep history in the schools and stuff like that, it's inevitable that we will actually repeat history. That's the reason why I think this kind of stuff does need to be talked about, even though it's not a very popular topic. So as you can see behind me, I'm actually at the Jerome-Rohwer Museum, which is a museum for the intermediate or concentration camps that we had here in the United States. It's not the same type of concentration camps that you think of when you see Nazi Germany concentration camps, but they're still concentration camps that we had. These two are two that are here in Arkansas that a lot of people don't know about. I mean, there's 10 all over, and most people in school, you hear about the ones out west, but there are two here in Arkansas that if you're ever around this area that you may want to come view and see and stuff like that. So let's walk around, and I'm probably going to do a voiceover so that you can kind of see what I'm talking about as I'm showing you the museum. When you first walk in, you see a map of the whole entire world that shows little pins of people who have visited this museum from all around the world. A few steps later, you'll see this map here that shows people that have visited this museum from all over the United States. As I said a few minutes ago, people will talk about the bombing on Pearl Harbor, but what a lot of people don't want to talk about is the executive order signed by President Franklin D. Roosevelt on February 19, 1942. The Executive Order 9066 he signed basically set up military zones all along the east and west coast. Because of the establishment of the military zone, it gave the military the authority to remove anybody they deemed was a threat to the United States. Because of Japan's involvement on the bombing, all people with as little as a 16th Japanese ancestry were given a 6-day notice they were being forced to move. They had to sell or give away all of their belongings, and even business owners were being forced to close their business or sell it to somebody. Due to the amount of people being transported, both trains and buses were being used to transport the people to the concentration camps. Air conditioning back in 1940s was still a new thing, and so most of the trains and buses were not only very crowded, they also did not have air conditioning. Just over 6 months after the Executive Order 9066 was signed, the first camp in Arkansas opened up, with the other one open a month later. These camps were built in the southeast of Arkansas, not far from the Mississippi River. As George Decay just said, it took 3 days and 2 nights to get to the camp here in Arkansas from the west coast. You can probably imagine the fear that went through all of the people on the train's minds whenever they first saw the camp with all the barbed wire all around their new homes. Like all cities in the United States, Each camp contains schools, hospitals, places to wash your clothes, and even places to eat. Due to this, the adults went to work taking care of these responsibilities while the children went back to school to learn. Like most jails, they also had work details where some of the adults were allowed to go outside the camp for jobs. And even though it was very controversial, some of the Japanese even joined the military, but more on that later. As you can see, the Japanese did their best to make some sort of norm while in camp. Most of the items that you see in the museum are items that were donated by local landowners who purchased the land after the camps were closed and found these items just laying around or when they were excavating part of the land. After the December 18, 1944 Supreme Court ruling that stated it was illegal to detain a loyal U.S. citizen without a cause, no matter their culture or descent, all of the camps began the closing process. On January 2, 1945, the Japanese were finally allowed to leave, but most did not have anything to go back to. Eventually, all of the Japanese from the camps here in Arkansas went back to the West Coast or Midwest, with the exception of 2 who ended up staying close by until they passed away. As you look at these pictures and paintings that were taken and drew during that time, take a minute to think about if you were in their shoes. You're being forced by the government to leave the area that you've known your entire life with only what you can carry. If you ask me, doesn't this seem very similar to the way the government treated the Native Americans when they were forced on reservations back in the 1800s? While I understand that the Japanese citizens received monetary compensation for what happened to them, and some were even able to get back to their previous home, but does that still make it right for what happened? Let me leave you with this question. Do you think it could happen again? I hope you enjoyed that museum. It's one of those that when you first go in, they offer a 20-minute video, and from that video there's still remnants of those 2 camps. So let's get over there to these 2 camps and see what all we can find there at the camps. So here we are at the Jerome location. We're about 15 miles south of McGehee, where the museum is located. Behind me is going to be a monument I'm going to show you in just a second, but really the only thing left here is going to be a smokestack to the side of me that I'll also show you here in just a second as well. This camp was located here from October 6, 1942 all the way to June 30th, 1944. It did have about 6,500 people here, but other than that, as you can see, there's nothing left, and they've really kind of turned it back into farmland. So let me show you this monument and this smokestack, and then we're going to get back on the road and head about 30 miles north of here to the other camp location. All right, so here's the monument that they erected here. Like I said, it was from 1942 to 1944 is when the camp was here. Also, you'll see where it says 6,700 people, but I did read where there may have been more than that here, but I'm not real sure. So, and over here, I don't know if you can see it. I'll try to zoom in, but between this light pole and that light pole right here in the center is going to be where the smokestack is. And I don't know if you can hear it, but just on the other side of those bushes is a train coming, and that's going to be the train that they use to bring the Japanese in. All right, let's get over to the other camp. All right, here we are at the Rohwer location. Again, kind of like the other location, we're about 15 miles north of McGehee. But speaking of that, I want to thank Tyler in McGehee because he actually filled me up while I was coming back through. I stopped to get gas, and I really do appreciate it. So if you know Tyler, or Tyler, if you're watching this, I really do appreciate that. Up here by the road, I think they converted the old train track into a walking path, but once you come over it, you got a little display here, and then on further back is the actual monument that they made and everything. So let's look at this little display first, and then we'll ride back there to the back. All right, so here's a kind of a replica of probably what one of the watchtowers looked like. And then, you know, this right here kind of shows you the outline of the whole facility and everything, and then in relation to the main road right there. And then this is kind of a more detailed diagram of what all of it looked like. This railroad right here, they've turned into kind of a walking track, it looked like whenever I come across. But that museum I was talking about, or not museum, but the monument I was talking about is right there. And then it looks like I'm gonna have to find this smokestack. And once again, most of this was, you know, talked about while I was at the museum. All right, let's ride back here to the back and look at this monument. So here we are at the back. One thing about this camp location was it was in operation from September 18th, 1942 to November 30th, 1945. It was actually the last camp to close out of the 10 camps that they have. So let's walk over here and I'll show you all these over here. So as you saw on that sign, there's actually graves over here for some of the people that passed away while they were here. And I know in that video that I was watching at the museum, they said that there are some infants that, you know, died here at this location. And here are some of the ones that actually enlisted in the military that passed away. So as I said, you know, some of these people that passed away here from this camp was actually in the military and died, as you saw, overseas fighting, you know, World War II. But it was a little controversial. The reason why I say that is because they had to take a test, and depending on what they said on that test, as far as, you know, yes, I'll enlist in the military, some of them that didn't was actually thrown in jail because they thought, well, they're not holding allegiance to the United States. So like I said, that's one reason why they say it was a little controversial. So I kind of wanted to say that in case I didn't say it earlier in the video. But let's keep looking around and see what else we can see. All right, so here we are at the graves of the camp members that passed away. And from that video I was watching at the museum, this gentleman here actually is the oldest person that passed away. And then over here in the back are 3 graves for the 3 infants that actually passed away while they were imprisoned here as well. So alright, so as you can see behind me, that's going to be as close as I can get to the smokestack. The land behind me is private, and somebody's kind of bought the old public school right here, so I can't get any closer. But it is what it is. We'll maybe try again another day. But I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. If you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe down below. And leave me a comment, let me know what you think about this video. If you were one of the ones that I've gave one of the stickers to, or you're watching this from that area, hey, I appreciate y'all watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. So kind of let me know. And speaking of stickers, if you want a sticker, head on over to my website and put in a request, and I'll definitely get one out to you. But share this with some of your friends as well. I would very much appreciate it, because it helps me know that y'all are enjoying what I'm giving you. So until the next video, always take the scenic route, and I'll see you then.